Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Ajoe21love, here with your sports overview topics. Another edition for number 117. We're 2 weeks into the NFL regular season, and it's been a journey thus far. We had some hell of performances on not only Thursday, but Sunday as well. But a lot to go over, as well as the hype up for week 3. Going to talk about Aaron Judge and his road to possibly history. Get more on that, but nonetheless, thank you for joining me. If you're new to the podcast and you want to see more sports review topics and pro wrestling reviews, you can find them on the homepage. Click the subscriptions there in the corner. Take you to the homepage and all my videos. Thus, you can find on the podcast. But nonetheless, let's not take too much time to babble. Let's get into it. Week 2 of the NFL season now in the books, and it seems like no secret who had the best performance in week 2. And the biggest statement, I think, in week 2 was Tua Tagovailoa of the Miami Dolphins. 6 touchdowns, near 500 yards passing. Tua and a route of a comeback win in Baltimore against a game Ravens team. Basically after that Lamar Jackson touchdown, that long run touchdown, you thought, okay, pretty much the Ravens are going to salt this one away, but the Dolphins kept coming back, and Tyreek Hill, the way he has already implemented himself in the offense, you can't beat speed, and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, that's a deadly combo. And the Dolphins kept fighting. Tua kept slinging it. And then Justin Tucker, the Ravens drove down to kick a field goal to go up 38-35. But the Dolphins weren't shaking. And you got the sense of, we're not going to get overtime. The Dolphins are coming down to either win the game or lose it. So, hats off to 6 touchdowns. 1 to Gesicki, which, by the way, he had a hell of a touchdown grab in the back of the end zone. That almost goes unnoticed, but yeah. But let's get into more depth with the rest games, shall we? So, week 2 started off on Thursday in intriguing fashion. We had the Chargers go to Kansas City, and they gave the Chiefs a fight up until the end. They seemed like they were controlling the game, really, until Justin Herbert throws a pick six, and from that point on, the momentum shifted, and Chiefs rallied back. We're ahead 27-17. Chargers tried to make a comeback, scoring touchdown late. Justin Herbert, tough dude is Justin Herbert. Had a rib cartilage injury, but staying there, still managed to hook some throws, do what he could to keep the Chargers into it, but Chiefs pulled away at home, and they move on to be 2-0. I pretty much just went over this game, but might as well say Dolphins won 42-38. Tua had a great game. Lamar Jackson had a hell of a game as well. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Mike Gesicki. Credit to all the offense for the Dolphins. And, Mike McDaniel, it's only his first two games, but he helped made a statement, that the Dolphins are here, and they're here to make notice here in the AFC. Talk about a comeback and a shiver, and then a glimpse. Joe Flacco still has some magic in him as the Jets rallied back in less than a minute and a half to beat the Browns in Cleveland 31-30. Now, credit to the Jets. The Jets, now it's so early, but the Jets were a team early I thought would have more of a fight than they did the first, game and 3.5 quarters. But, this shouldn't have happened. The Browns, did what they could on offense to win. Nick Chubb did a solid 3 touchdowns, hat trick, and they went up 30-17. And he thought, well, the Browns got this. And then all of a sudden, a wide open, blown coverage touchdown, Corey Davis. And just like that, the game's winning 6. And then the Jets recovered the onside kick. And then Jets go down, and Garrett Wilson, the 10th overall pick. Garrett Wilson out of Ohio State is a stud and scored the game-winning touchdown in Cleveland. Hats off for him. The Detroit Lions are making a bit of a noise early. 36-27 over the Commanders. The Lions were ahead 22-0. Credit to Jared Goff, 4 touchdowns, a clean game. Amon-Ra St. Brown is coming to his own. He is definitely right now a top 10 receiver. If you don't know about Amon-Ra St. Brown by now, you got to. You got to. He's on this streak of, 8 games with at least 8 catches. That is serious. He is a serious dude. He had over 200, almost 200 scrimmage yards. What can you say? It's hell of a game. They got a dynamic duo in the backfield, Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift. And Aiden Hutchinson had 3 sacks. Now, credit to the Commanders for crawling back into this, but too deep of a hole they let up. Commanders did, and just wasn't enough. Speaking of just wasn't enough, the Colts, I don't know what's going on. Jaguars, same thing. New face at quarterback, same thing. Losing in Jacksonville. Jags win 24-0. Trevor Lawrence is looking more and more like the first overall pick of this draft last year. More and more week by week. And he looked poised against the Colts. 2 touchdowns to Christian Kirk. This on been over 200 yards each of the last 2 weeks. More receivers, better running backs, better offensive line. I mean, they are looking good on offense. Along with Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker as their duo on defense, they got something. Colts, I don't know what to say. Matt Ryan, he looked like the old Matt Ryan last week. And the Colts rallying back to tie the Texans and try to win in overtime. On Sunday, he looked more like the old Matt Ryan. Nothing to say, but we know, unfortunately, he's coming towards the end of his career. And, not just him. Jonathan Taylor was pretty much a guy on a milk carton towards the end of the game. He was missing, had a couple runs, but really nothing. Now, they were out some of their starting receivers, Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce, etc. Shaquille Leonard, what he's being called now, was out, but only 0, not even a point. Bucs beat the Saints. Finally, Tom Brady and the Bucs beat the Saints in the regular season. 20-10. This game was a defensive slugfest, really, for 3.5 quarters. Leonard Fournette and Mark Ingram were pretty much the main names you pretty much heard pretty much all game. Alvin Kamara, I think that obviously hurt the Saints. And then Jameis looked like the old Jameis at the end, throwing picks, threw a pick six. I mean, with the Buccaneers, first of all, the Saints defense held their own. They held their own for Brady again. I mean, whatever the scheme is, they got to him again. As for their offense, it's a little strange. They scored 19 last week and 20 on Sunday. Now, they have not been 100% healthy. Mike Evans. You got Mike Evans, Julio Jones, Chris Godwin, Russell Gage, when all healthy. And less than 21 points. First two games. A little strange. Now, they did sign Cole Beasley, which, should help a bit. The other thing, you got Cameron Ray and Kyle Rudolph. But still. Now, Mike Evans is going to be suspended the next game due to the brawl that ensued between him, Marshawn Lattimore, and both opposite teams. But intriguing how that affects them against the Packers. The Giants are showing life to start the season. First time in a while. They won 19-16 over the Panthers. The Panthers could not hold on to the ball in the first half to save their lives. Pretty much it was just turnover, fumble, turnover. It was just like bananas. With the gloves the Panthers were wearing. But they did rally back a bit. They did tie it at 16. But the Giants pulled away, hitting a field goal, and the G-Men are 2-0. 2-0. Good for the Giants. Saquon didn't have as great of a game as he did against the Titans. He did adequate. 71 yards. Daniel Jones, throughout the first 2 weeks, has been quality. He's done enough to win. And, if he can win and not turn the ball over, that definitely helps the G-Men one bit. As for the Panthers, hey, McCaffrey had over 100 yards. Baker, I would be surprised if Matt Rule's seat isn't getting a little warm. Just a little bit. Based on what's been going on. Patriots beat the Steelers in Acrisure Field. The first game at Acrisure Field, 70-14. Talk about another sluggish game, but Patriots pulled through. Drop pick by Cameron Sutton. Dropped kick by old Patriot Gunnar Olszewski. And the Patriots won 17-14. You know, there's still obviously questions about the Patriots offense, but their defense has done an adequate job as well the last 2 weeks. You know, I don't know what's going on with Kendrick Bourne. I mean, they're trying to make Javonte Parker, I guess, number one, but it's not going well. Good to see Damian Harris healthy, though. Steelers, there were a chance of Kenny, last week against the Bengals, Mitch Trubisky did all right. He didn't make any big eye-dropping plays. He did enough, really, but got it done. I mean, he did make a few plays, but still. The Steelers were this close from being 0-2. And, I feel indifferent about them right now. Rams won but did not cover 31-27 over Falcons. It was 28-3. And then next thing you know, it's 24-3 the other way, but the Rams held it together after their dumb mistakes, laying the Falcons back in the game late, and they got a win. Much needed victory. '49ers got the victory as well, being the Seahawks after that emotional game. Russell Wilson, Seattle, but Seahawks won 23-7 over their division rivals. Besides Tua, the number one topic of discussion is Jimmy G. Jimmy G. Trey Lance unfortunately suffered a broken ankle against the Seahawks, and he'll pretty much be out for the whole season. So, just like that, it's another lost year in the experiment of Trey Lance. And Jimmy G did enough to get the win. If you're John Lynch, you gotta be having a serious headache, because you invested a bunch in the Trey Lance, and luckily he was a first rounder, so they got a bit more time with a fifth-year option. But I mean, last year he barely played. This year, pretty much the same. I mean, what we saw of last week, he got outplayed by Justin Fields. This week he did okay, but now he's injured again. So it is weird. Cowboys got the dub 20-17 over the Bengals. The Bengals 0-2. Joe Burrow is I feel for 13 sacks in the last two games. I mean, you bring Ted Karras, Alex Kappa, and Lyle Collins over to fix the issue. The issue is not being solved. Hopefully soon. The defense of the Cowboys came to play. The offense changed. Cooper Rush made some good throws. You know, he beat the Vikings the last season when he had to fill in. This season, he's beating the Bengals, who were just in the Super Bowl. 16-9, the Broncos got the dub, but still a cause for concern for Denver. I mean, 16 points the last 2 weeks straight with Russell Wilson, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, Cortland Sutton. I mean, you got some good players on offense, and only 16 points each of the last 2 games against the Texans and the Seahawks. Now, no disrespect to Texans or Seahawks, but they don't have all worldly defenses. So, concerning. The Cardinals pulled it away 29-23 in overtime. We did get another overtime. Kyler Murray did. This was a type of game I think Kyler Murray had to have in a way to validate a bit his contract extension. Really, he took it over the last number of minutes in the game. You know, they were down 23-7. Kyler Murray throws a touchdown. Kyler Murray has a very long, almost 20-second, 2-point conversion. Kyler Murray runs in for a touchdown and throws it in the back of the end zone to AJ Green to tie it at the end of regulation. So, this is what Kyler had to do. Raiders have been disappointing because, you could tell if you've watched the podcast, you'll know how high I've been on the Raiders the last couple weeks now. So very early, but it's a bit silly. Sunday Night Football was terribly wrong, but I'll eat my words. Seems awfully fine with the Packers now. It seems 27-10 over the Bears in Green Bay. Bears obviously made noise with their first drive and then pretty much fizzled out. I don't know if they went away from the game plan or not, but it was odd from the first couple minutes. But we know with the run game, they're still there with the Packers. Their weapons, however, need improvement. And their defense is still stout. Monday night doubleheader. Bills won 41-7 over the Titans. Josh Allen is playing like the MVP. James Cook had a more productive day than he did against the Rams. In his touches. Titans, only 7 points. Only 7. Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill, Malik Willis was in the end of the game. I really don't know if that's going to help. I mean, yeah, I don't know. And then the Vikings had no brotherly love in Philly as they lost 24-7 against the Eagles. Both teams I would consider to be good teams. And both teams I can see as playoff teams down the road. Eagles have a formula. And now with A.J. Brown, they can be more lethal. Now, they aren't a great team, but they know their identity. And I think that is what makes Jalen Hurts comfortable. And when they have Jalen Hurts comfortable, it makes things flow nicer for the team. Kirk Cousins had a day to forget against the Eagles. I just like a flush down the toilet game for the Vikings, pretty much. So, after going below 500 last 2 weeks, it's time to get back on track with these picks. For week 3, let's dive into it. So, the second ever NFL game on Prime Video for Thursday Night Football. Starting off, Steelers at Browns. Browns 4.5 point favorites. Browns should be 2-0. They lost that game versus the Jets. Shouldn't have happened. If they had covered that Corey Davis touchdown and did their assignment, then we probably wouldn't be talking about the whisperous comeback by the Jets, but here we are. Still, despite that and the interception late by Jacoby Brissett, they still have a very good team around Jacoby Brissett. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Harrison Bryant, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Amari Cooper. He opened up against the Jets. Their offensive line is still one of the better ones in the league. Myles Garrett, unfortunately, Jadeveon Clowney, and a few others will be out, but I feel more confident right now in the Browns than I do the Steelers. The Steelers could easily be 0-2 right now, but they aren't. So I'm going to go with a Browns victory here. 27-21 over the Steelers in Cleveland. Saints at Panthers. First Sunday games. Saints 3-point favorites. The other thing too, Jameis Winston had small fractures in his back on Sunday. Really curious to see how that affects him and leads over into this game. Alvin Kamara's status, I think that is very key. Very key. Seems hopeful to play. Hopeful. But what I do know is the offense of the Panthers is healthy. Baker's healthy. Christian's healthy. McCaffrey's healthy. I mean, their receivers are healthy. I mean, this almost feels like come on. We have to get something here. So, I don't think it'll be easy, but I'm going to say the Panthers get the first win at home, 20-16 over Saints. Texans and Chicago taking on the Bears. Bears 2.5-point favorites. The Texans were very in it versus the Broncos on Sunday. The Bears went away from their identity. But we know with the Bears, they have a lot of young, unproven talent. And we saw that when Fields, is able to have time in the pocket against the 49ers, he's able to work. I think the Texans have some good stuff, but, Dave Mills is doing what he can, but I'm going to go with the Bears, though, to work it out. 24-19 in Chicago. Chiefs at Colts. Chiefs 6.5-point favorites. Colts feel like a weird team at 0-2. I expect Jonathan Taylor to have a bigger performance at home than he did in Jacksonville. Because that's where their demons are. The Chiefs offense stormed against the Cardinals week 1. Week 2 against the Chargers, it was so slaying. But I'm going to go with the Chiefs here to ride their momentum again. They get the win 28-23. Chiefs win, but Colts cover. And Indianapolis. This is an underrated game. Really intriguing. Bills at Dolphins. Bills 5.5-point favorites. Tua had that great performance in Baltimore against the Ravens. Now he welcomes in the Buffalo Bills to town. I think Tua is going to be able to put up some fireworks with Josh Allen. Question is, can he keep up? Tyreek Hill certainly going to help. Jen Wall is going to help. I don't think it'll be enough, but I think they won't be shy as the Bills win it 35-31 in Miami. Lions in Minnesota taking on the Vikings. The Lions have been very tough the first 2 weeks, scoring 71 points the last 2 games against the Commanders and the Eagles. The Vikings, they're a good team, but they ran in the flux versus the Eagles. I'm not going to say it's great. It'll probably be a nitty-gritty game. And the Vikings have a sour taste in their mouths from that first game win by the Lions last year. So I'm going to go with Vikings here to get the win 24-22. Ravens at Patriots. Ravens 3-point favorites. Ravens offense wasn't the problem for the Dolphins. Their defense, just couldn't stop them. Just couldn't stop them as late. When Tua was on, Tua was on. Patriots, their offense still has questions. Feels like they're sluggish a bit first 2 games. And, we've seen they have the capability to score points. It's just, I don't know. And it's in New England early in the season. So, I don't know. I'm going with the Ravens here. 29-23. Bengals at Jets. Bengals 4.5-point favorites. This was the Mike White game last year. Mike White 400-yard game. The Bengals, 0-2. The Jets 1-1. I mean, the problem is the last 2 weeks has been same apparent. The offensive line of the Bengals. 13 sacks in the first 2 games. Perhaps they run the ball more with Joe Mixon. Perhaps that's going to be their key. The Jets have some quality young pass rushers, Carl Lawson, Jermaine Johnson III, they drafted. But I don't think they're not as good as the Cowboys and the Steelers defenses. I'm not going to say this is up in flames, shooting fire by the Bengals, but I'm going to say they bit of a contested but still good game. 23-17, they grind it out. Bengals get the win. Raiders at Titans. Raiders 2.5-point favorites. These are probably the two teams I'm most disappointed in the first 2 weeks of the season. I mean, Titans had the game 1 versus the Giants, but squandered it. The Raiders versus the Cardinals had it, but squandered it. I am really not sure, but because I love both coaches, I love Mike Vrabel, I love Josh McDaniels. Derek Carr, Devontae Adams, Max Crosby. I mean, both got studs on the defense. I mean, besides Derrick Henry, you have a lot of new on the offense side and on improvement for the Titans. I mean, I gotta go with the Raiders here. No matter who's starting at quarterback, 26 to 17 over Titans. Hurts versus Wentz. Commanders versus Eagles. In Washington or Maryland. Eagles 6.5-point favorites. This is intriguing. Yeah, Wentz versus the Eagles. I mean, the Eagles are good. Eagles got a method. Washington, you got the good and you got the bad from Wentz. Their defense got shredded versus the Lions. I mean, going with the Eagles, though, unfortunately, a bit of a dogfight. 23-20 over Washington. Jaguars at Chargers. Chargers 7-point favorites. So, Justin Herbert was diagnosed with a rib cartilage injury. And, this could be a very underrated game. Trevor Lawrence versus Justin Herbert. However, the injury is a bit of a concern. We saw how much pain Justin Herbert was in. And I'm not totally confident. And, the Jaguars we've seen already, their offensive line can do well. And a less than 100% Justin Herbert for Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen. May seem a bit silly, but I'm going with the Jaguars here. Get this win. 30-24. Against Chargers. No, wait. 30-28. 30-28. Rams at Cardinals. Both 1-1. Rams 3.5-point favorites. Both split in the regular season last year. The Rams seem to find their identity a bit on offense last week. Throwing more to Allen Robinson, Cam Akers running the ball more. Cardinals still have a boatload of issues on offense despite the win. Kyler Murray's still out. Rondell Moore. Luckily, J.J. Watt and Zach Ertz came back, but still no DeAndre Hopkins, still suspended. You have at the end of his career, A.J. Green. I mean, got a lot of second stringers on offense, and James Conner is a bit banged up as well. Gotta go with the Rams. 27-20 over the Cards in the desert. Falcons at Seahawks. This is a weird game. Seahawks 1.5-point favorites at home. So almost a pick-em game. See, the Falcons had a good matchup week 1. Scoring 26 points. But let go of a 16-point lead against the Rams. They came back in the fourth quarter due to many turnovers, but they rallied back. Against the Seahawks, Geno Smith, I mean, I don't know. I think right now I probably believe more in Marcus Mariota or Desmond Ridder, assuming he starts, compared to Geno Smith or Drew Lock. I mean, Kyle Pitts, Drake London, he had a good showing against the Rams. Kyle Pitts, Cordell Patterson. I'm going with the Falcons here to get their first win. 23-21. Oh boy. Packers at Bucs. Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady. Bucs 1.5-point favorites. I just mentioned how I'm a bit disappointed with the Bucs offense the last 2 weeks. But now with Mike Evans being suspended, I mentioned the signing of Cole Beasley. Got work to do. Packers, picked apart the Bears. But Tom Brady for Aaron Rodgers in Tampa. I think this is going to be a more methodical game, more running-based game. And we get something between them. 26-24. Bucs win. Sunday Night Football. 49ers with Jimmy G to start. Going to Denver to face Russell Wilson and the Broncos. I mean, if the Broncos are going to win this game, they got to score more than 16 points, it seems. And I don't think the 49ers will have a problem scoring more than 16. Or 49ers, yeah. I just don't trust Nathaniel Hackett right now. And with Jimmy G, the offense is going to feel a bit rejuvenated. So I think they do what they can to get this done, and they win 26-23 in Denver, and we're continuing to question the Broncos. And Monday Nighter, this is the most intrigued I've been for a Cowboys Giants game in a couple years. But Cowboys Giants 2-point favorites or 2.5 point. The Giants, they gotta ride the hot hand. Their defense is good. Saquon has been doing enough. Same with Daniel Jones. They still got a good core weapons. So no Dak. So it's going to be a more methodical game. I'm going to say the Giants will get their win here 22-17. Giants get the win. Those are my picks. Before I go, I want to say congratulations, though, to Aaron Judge, who's doing very well and will probably be the MVP of the MLB this season. 60 home runs. We're at the end of the regular season, but anything can happen. Maybe breaks history, maybe doesn't, but either way, it's been a hell of a season despite all the injuries to the Yankees. So cool to see him. Cool to see him. Although the Mets are currently the better New York baseball team. So good for him. But nonetheless, thank you for joining me all. If you like this video, including myself, leave a like, leave a thumbs up. No deal. Help out the video, help the channel. Thank you all. Help out the podcast. See you guys all next week for episode 118 by Adios. Thank you. Be safe and peace.